In the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 11, Uncle Solomon writes these words to us: "My son, despise not the chastening of Yahuwah, neither be weary of his correction. For whom Yahuwah loves, he corrects, even as a father the son in whom he delights." The blessing of discipline. The blessing of discipline. Two concepts that, for the most part, most people don't put these two things together. Most people don't put blessing and discipline together. No. Most of the time, when we think of that which is a blessing, our mind goes to that which is good. It's going to make you feel good, make you happy. And when we talk about discipline or chastisement, we say that that is automatically bad because it's going to make you feel bad, and it just might take away from you something that you wanted. And because we've been taught that blessings make you happy and give you stuff, and that discipline makes you sad, or I should say, I missed one, that blessings make you happy, make you feel good, and give you stuff, and that anything that makes you feel bad or takes things away from you is automatically evil or a curse, then we can't, it's hard for us to put blessing and chastisement in the same thought, in the same sentence, to think that somehow chastisement and blessing is the same thing. Sometimes discipline and the blessing is the same. It's a very difficult concept, but it is a very important concept for us, the house of Israel, especially now as we are making our transition from captivity to freedom, and from the land of our captives to our promised land. It is very important that we start shifting the way we think about certain things, especially if we're thinking about these things based on a westernized, Eurocentric type of mindset. Especially if we're thinking in terms of, the European white supremacist mindset. We have to get rid of that. We're Israelites, we're Hebrews. And to help us not fall into some of these deviant behaviors and ways and thoughts, the book of the Proverbs is our book of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And it is as though here we are presented with two things that don't necessarily seem to go together. So he says, don't despise, my son, despise not, or don't despise the chastening of Yahuwah. As a matter of fact, he said, don't even be weary of it. So before we go any further, he's presenting to us the fact, number one, of chastisement. And he's also presenting to us insight concerning our disposition or attitude toward that chastisement. No one likes to be chastised in any type of way or any type of fashion. As a matter of fact, we live in a time today where even the very thought of chastisement seems to conjure in our hearts and in our emotion a bunch of negative feelings and negative and knee-jerk reactions, where we have these pictures that automatically, or I would say these mental pictures and these emotional things that automatically move us in the areas of abuse. So that when we hear chastisement, we can't just hear chastisement. When we hear chastisement, the way the world has tied it together, when you think of chastisement, it's immediately tied to abuse. And so now everything that operates as chastisement is seen as abuse. And I'm not going to get into that, how deep that is and how satanic that is. But as kings and queens and royalty, we cannot look at chastisement as abuse, especially if it's coming from Yah. I'm going to be doing a couple of more videos on this subject. But I wanted to just first lay down a principle that may help you understand how these two concepts, blessing and discipline, or blessing and chastisement, go together. All right, I'm just going to give you a couple of hints, and then in the next video, we will go a little further. Let's just pick the idea of a child being raised with discipline. Now watch where I'm going with this. With discipline and or chastisement. Watch. Concerning something simple as diet. So because most people today are so, at least they act like they are like overly health conscious and blah, 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 blah. It's very interesting that probably one of the first disciplines a child will learn is the discipline on what to eat and what not to eat. Or not only what to eat, but even being disciplined on how much to eat of whatever it is that they're eating, right? And so as you grow, most of the time, if you have, proper parents, the parent understands that a child has to be disciplined when it comes to eat in order to be healthy. And because we live in a world where people try to act like that's not true, they'll say, my baby can eat whatever he wants. My baby can eat whatever she wants. Say, well, aren't you, and if a person like me says, well, you should be concerned because your baby is 6 years old and severely, severely obese. And as a result, it can hurt the baby's heart, liver, kidneys. It can, that child may not want to participate in certain activities and things like that as other children. That child might start having self-esteem issues and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, this can be corrected by simply fixing the diet. And you're the parent. And the reason why I chose that as my first example was because it is very prevalent in the world today, but it's also very prevalent among our people where we say, you can't say that. You can't even say that. You can't say what? You can't say that child shouldn't eat anything that they want. Yeah, but it's true. You can't eat cotton candy for breakfast and then eat bubble gum for lunch and potato chips for a snack and red Kool-Aid for dinner. You're not going to be healthy. So in that small sense, if you are not disciplining your child, or if a child is not made to be disciplined concerning the way they eat, it is going to be detrimental to that particular child. And depending on the, I can go deeper on that, but I think you get my point. It may be heartbreaking for you later on. And so what we want to do is we want to understand that discipline. It's not a bad word, but there's a blessing. Why? Because when you train a child in the way they should go, that word has to do also with the palate. It has to do with teaching them what to eat and what not to eat. There's a verse in Isaiah that says the child will learn how to take in the good and refuse the bad. And of course, that is also applicable to this idea of discipline. If the person is disciplined to a particular good diet as a young person, then of course that discipline will pay off 100% positive dividends in the future. Matter of fact, in the immediate as well as the future. And as you have a healthy, you know, and I can go on with when the person's healthy, and then it helps them mentally and physically and socially and blah, blah, blah. And you have all of these beautiful positive things that follow a concept as simple as discipline. And that child, when they grow up, they'll say things like, you know what, I'm really glad that my parents love me enough to make sure that they disciplined me concerning food. That I was actually disciplined. I was taught how to eat correctly. And so when they look back on it, they won't say, man, my parents hated me. They cursed. They didn't let me eat whatever I wanted to eat. They must didn't love me. No, they're going to look back and say, no, my parents loved me so much that they made me eat that which was positive. And they disciplined me, or they corrected me if I was doing that and consuming that which was not good and not sustaining and not healthy and not nutritious. So when you put it back in the text, then you shouldn't despise the chastening. Now, I'm going to deal in the next video with this concept because we got to break down with this idea of despise not the chastening of Yahuwah. Why? Because he's greater when it comes to our good, when it comes to our benefit, when it comes to what is best for us. Yahuwah is so much better than our parents are. So if we shouldn't despise the chastening of our parents because they're only meaning the best good, we for sure should never despise the chastening of Yah. So if you're going through it and Yah has showed you why you're going through it, don't be upset with Yah. And don't despise the chastening, because it's obvious that he must love you and he must care about you if he's willing to take out time as Yah and actually spend some time disciplining you. He must have something very positive at the end of the chastisement for you. Just something to think about. We have a few more videos with the same thought and subject we're going to elaborate on. But this is something to stimulate thinking and stimulate thought. One love, Zion. Read these verses. Pray for us. We're praying for you. Support the work of the Ark. We'll support you. And stay tuned for several more videos that will be coming forward. One love. Shalom.